I have a little unboxing. Now, this is not the monthly book, at least with Page and Wick, it is bi-monthly. This is not part of the usual subscription. This instead is a pre-order, so I know exactly what this is. Now, it has been a while since I've done an unboxing from Page and Wick, and that is because it is bi-monthly. My last book from them was in March, because I skipped May, and July's book, because we're now in August, is running late. Which seems to happen a lot to them, but at least this time they've actually communicated why. There was an issue with the printers, which seems like a cop-out excuse, but could be true. Anyway, I know exactly what this book is. This is a book that was the only book that I skipped from my locked library subscription when I had that last year. And the only one I ever regret skipping, because it went viral and I could have sold it or kept it because it was really, really pretty. But this is Page and Wick's version. So let's get it open. So I'll stand a little to the side here so you can see not my address, but all my Page and Wick books are here. And I have turned them all around just because I like to change it up every now and then. And in summer, I like the spread edges to be at the back. So this is how it comes. And yes, there is a lot of packaging. I do reuse all the packaging. When anything is bought on my eBay, I reuse the boxes and the packaging. Yeah, so this is Page and Wick's version of When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Double checking that I said that right. And the only version that I've actually managed to get my hands on, because Fairy Loot did a version, I think. Hundreds of pounds on eBay, ridiculous. The locked library version, hundreds of pounds on eBay, ridiculous. I don't know whether there was an Illumicrate version, but it seemed like every book box was doing a version of this. And with viral books, Page and Wick usually are about a year late. So it gives us an option to get hold of them. But I really like this. It's quite understated with the front cover. I like that the title is little down here, and I like that it's in cursive as well, because I write in cursive. But I like the fact that most of the cover is given over to the artwork, which I will come up here and show you here. And it does wrap around to here on the back. And unfortunately, it does have a dreaded barcode. But for it all together, it didn't crack. There was no crack in there. But that is it all together. So let's have a look at the naked hardcover, because I do get a few book subscriptions, and I always say if I ever had to get rid of any, the thing that saves Page and Wick, because it is one of the most expensive ones, is the artwork is phenomenal. But this is the naked hardcover. Well, it's quite nice. It's not a glossy cover. It is quite like a painting canvas. And I do like the use of foiling on here. I do like the different blue tones and everything. And it does wrap around again to here on the back, where it says, "And I pray your bloodlust brings you the same sense of peace I feel just knowing you exist." Ooh. But we'll open it up again. And this is what it looks like. So the edges are a wraparound, so they're not just one standard colour. So we do have sort of a cloudy colour here, and the same a bit darker on the bottom. And the edges are nothing really to write home about, but they are pretty nonetheless. And it does wrap around like that. Now the interior artwork is a choice. It's good. I like character art being on the inside of the book. I just feel that this is a whole lot of unused area. And I haven't read the book yet, so I'm assuming this is quite a poignant scene. But she doesn't look like she's in a dungeon. It's just a whole nothing. And here on the back is a better picture. Now, like I said, I have heard a lot about this book. The reason I skipped it from the locked library was because initially I didn't think it would be something that would interest me, so I skipped it. And at that point, I was getting sick of the locked library anyway, so I made the decision to skip it, which I regret. I was thinking when I put the dust jacket back on it that the edges would sort of fit with it, but they don't, so I don't know why it's a bit bland and boring. But let's go with the blurb if you haven't read this already and don't know what it's about. I read it when it first came out, but as an assassin for the rebellion, Rave's job is to complete orders and never get caught. When a rival bounty hunter shatters her world, Rave finds... I'm assuming it's pronounced Rave. Rave finds herself captured by the Guild of Nobles, a group of powerful fae. Does every book have to have fae in it? It's fae and dragons, which this has. It's everywhere. Crushed by the loss of his great love, dragon rider Khan Vega took the head of a king and donned his melted crown. Now on a tireless quest to quell the never-ebbing ache in his chest, a clue lures him into the capital's high-security prison, where he stumbles upon the imprisoned Rave. Also, it might be a dungeon, that's why it's so dark. Together they seek truths that threaten to unravel everything they know about their world and each other. Sounds interesting enough. I can see why I skipped it, because everything coming out at that time from all the book boxes, everything that was online, it was always dragons and it was always fae. And I think I got overloaded and sick of it. Which it's still dragons and fae, but I think some other ones are making a comeback. But this is signed by the author. Oh, we have a trigger. Do you have a trigger? This book contains explicit content and dark elements that may be triggering for some. For a full list of warnings, please turn to the end of the book, where a glossary and pronunciation guide can also be found at the end of the book. I would argue that a pronunciation guide should be at the front, but we'll have a look anyway, because I don't want to read the last page, so I'm being very, very careful. See, stuff like this should be at the beginning. Alright, so we have a family tree. We have the glossary, which is like 10 pages. We have a creature glossary and characters. And then we get the pronunciation guide. Did I say it correctly? Rave. Yeah, I did. So, here we go. Trigger warnings on the very last page. Which I would argue, if you would put a little a thing saying... Where is it? What's it say? If you put in a thing at the front of the book saying about the book and only using this much page, I would argue and saying that the trigger warnings are at the end of the book before you start reading, just put it at the front. It's not like you don't have space. Anyway, trigger warnings are blood and gore, death and violence, sexually explicit, torture, implied threat of sexual assault / sexual predator, explicit language, cruelty towards a creature / abuse, abduction of an adult implied off-page and post-recounting, death in childbirth implied off-page, abduction / trafficking of minors implied off-page, miscarriage implied for a secondary character off-page. I would argue that should have been at the front, because it's not like there isn't enough space to put it there. And we do have a map, so bonus points for that one. For those who feel small and quiet, spread those wings and roar. And then it begins. I do want to get to it. I want to just check it off my list of viral books. Are my expectations high? No. What I've been finding with books that I read that are viral, such as Blood of Hercules, Night of the Moth, it's viral and I read them with all this expectation, and at least with Blood of Hercules, it let me down at the end and I was angry. See my review for that one. And with The Night of the Moth, I was just bored, and you can check out my review for that one as well. I'll link them all down in the description below. But yeah, when I get around to this, either by the end of this year, because it seems quite a cozy fantasy, so we'll see when I get to it. I'm not quite sure what my reading is going to look like for the rest of the year, because there are so many pre-orders coming at the end of this year. You know, when you just scroll past things and think, oh, pretty, order. Oh, pretty, order. Oh, pretty, order. Yeah, I've ended up with something like 20 pre-orders for books, 4 of which are for the same one. Yes, I might have a problem, and if I don't like that book, I am going to be so angry. But the versions were pretty, so. Next year, I'm going to have more of a hold on what I am doing. But this, I'm really happy with. I like the cover. It's muted, but it's fantasy. Although it's romantasy, it's you know, it's just, I like that the title is just like this little bit down here, and the rest of it is just the artwork. So all in all, very happy with it. How much did I pay for it? Alright, so this title was £35, and it is not available on their website. It did sell out in the pre-order. Expected. But yeah, £35, not bad. They're probably already up on eBay for a ridiculous amount of money. I'll check it when I'm editing, if I remember, but this should prompt me. And put up here what I find that, how much it's going for, because the locked library version was going up for upwards of £500 to £800. Ridiculous. I pay that for some of these. In fact, no, I haven't. The only one I've paid that much money for is one called 6 Stories, and it was only one of 1,000 made and signed ever. That's where I would generate that kind of money, but for a book that's readily available in anywhere, no. But no. Anything, if you can get it for under 100, yes. Over, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But this, it's pretty and I like it. I'm happy with it. I am happy with it. I wasn't sure whether I was going to be, whether I would think that it's too bland, but I don't. It's pretty and I like it. It's pretty. I like the use of the blues and purples and muted fantasy tones. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you have read it, give me some non-spoiler opinions, because I haven't read it and I've ignored all sort of videos for it, I think. But yeah, if you've got a special edition of this, let me know which one it is and what you think of it. And as always, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and keep reading.
Soft embrace, dark star sips with calm and